Have you ever wondered why was the Eiffel Tower built in the first place? And why has its beautiful architecture been copied all over the world? Well, because not only is Parisian architecture beautiful, there's a few groundbreaking landmarks here too, beginning with, of course, that iconic Eiffel Tower. It's hard to believe, but the symbol of Paris didn't start out that way. It was simply the entrance to the 1889 World Expo, which was the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. The Eiffel Tower was built in over 2 years with 2.5 million rivets. But if you look closely, the Eiffel Tower looks almost unfinished, like the inner structure of a building that was never completed, right? So why no clothes on the Eiffel Tower?
Ooh la la!
Well, all this iron and rivets may look simple today, but this was during the industrial age. And to be able to construct a tower to the staggering height of nearly 1,000 feet was an engineering marvel at the time. In fact, the Eiffel Tower was the tallest man-made structure in the world for 41 years.
Whoa!
Gustave Eiffel compared his work of art to the glorious pyramids of Egypt, but others were not so welcoming at first. In fact, there was a group called the Artists Against the Eiffel Tower, and they said that this, quote, barbaric bulk would block the skyline of Paris. Well, you know how the French can be.
Mon Dieu!
The man who led that protest was Charles Garnier, who designed our next Parisian landmark, the Opera Garnier, or better known as the Paris Opera House. Built between 1861 and 1875, today it stands proudly and oh so prettily in the middle of one of the busiest, noisiest intersections of Paris. More than a century later, we're standing here and it seems like it's chaotic with the traffic, but that was intended. It was so everybody could see it and everybody could enjoy its beauty, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is the main event.
In its opulent Second Empire Beaux-Arts style, the Paris Opera House is chock full of symbolism and mythology. There's the allegories of the arts, then the great composers, and on the rooftop is Apollo, the Greek god of the arts, flanked by harmony and poetry, all glittering in gold. And inside, there's the famous grand staircase with multicolored marble and more Greek mythology and celebrations of music. You enter in a whole different world.
And it was heavenly. It was the idea of ascending into the opera. You know, you're coming off of the street and you're working your way into this elitist art and...
A temple to music.
Yes.
I like it. But what goes around comes around. This temple to music wasn't worshipped by everyone. And this brings us to our third Parisian landmark, built between 1875 and 1914 on the highest point in Paris. Sacré-Cœur is on the highest point of Paris for a reason. That's because this has been known as the Hill of the Gods since pre-Roman times. In fact, Montmartre used to be translated as Mountain of Mars. But of course, when Christians overtook the pagans, they then made Montmartre mean Mountain of the Martyrs. Many centuries later, in the late 19th century, the beautiful Sacré-Cœur was built and has been overlooking Paris ever since. Sakurakura Basilica glows white like an angel thanks to a special type of stone. It also sticks out of the Parisian skyline like a beautiful sore thumb. Its Romano-Byzantine architectural style is unique, to say the least. The architects chose this style for a reason. Yep, you guessed it, once again to protest another Parisian landmark, the Paris Opera House.
Mon Dieu!
They called the Opera House a scandalous monument of extravagance, indecency, and bad taste. So, the simple steel framework of the Eiffel Tower was protested by the architect of the Paris Opera House, which was seen as too extravagant and scandalous by the architect of Sacré-Cœur, who created the angelic Byzantine domed basilica that looked like nothing else in Paris. Well, it's too bad everyone couldn't play nice, but all that bickering sure resulted in some beautiful, inspirational Parisian landmarks.